It's 1:13 a.m. in Haddonfield, Illinois, and you're listening to Night Call.
Hello and welcome to Night Call, a podcast to keep you company during those strange days and lonely nights. My name is Emily Yoshida. I am here in New York, and with me on the other line in Los Angeles, I have
Molly Lambert
and Tess Lynch.
I was just thinking when we all recorded together recently that Emily was noting that we all bob our heads silently to the theme music that does not play.
Yes.
I think we're all in a little bit of a time warp now because it feels like we've been in Halloween land for Night Call for the last month, which, I mean, it's never not really Halloween time for Night Call, but, you know, actual proper Halloween time. But now we're recording this on October 28th, right? 28th?
Yeah, it's before
29th.
Halloween in real life.
It's before Halloween, but by the time you listen to this, it'll be after Halloween. But we still wanted to talk about Halloween just a little bit, because why not?
I think Halloween springs eternal. And
yeah,
what I really like about Halloween, because like I was talking about this a lot, because I love Halloween. I get really excited for Halloween. I love people decorating their houses because it's so tacky and great.
Well, you've had a lot of good Instagram action on your personal Instagram account with really super Halloween decked out houses.
That's like what I like to night crawl for. I like to just like have something to play bingo with in the world.
Oh, speaking of which, Molly, can you please tell us about the Halloween mansions that you built for
your
cats?
I made a spooky Halloween village for my cats.
They're so good.
Out of the FabFitFun boxes.
Extra plug, free plug, you're welcome.
Well, because like my cats love any boxes. They like anything that's like a square or a rectangle. They will sit on or in, no matter like what size they are. But yeah, I just had a bunch of boxes that I was like letting them hang out and play with, and then I turned it into a spooky Halloween town, and it was the most gratifying thing I've done.
They had lighting.
I was just thinking like 10 minutes ago, I was like, oh, I'm going to turn it into a Christmas village later.
Because cats are always so drawn to Christmas presents and they want to sit on them. But then you're like, oh, are they going to pee on that box? So better give them their own boxes to pee on if they want.
Make them their own world.
I mean, obviously the new Halloween has been out in theaters now for a couple weeks. I have not seen it. Have either of you seen it?
No.
The David Gordon Green Halloween
No, we were
remake?
supposed to see it together, and then I got food poisoning.
Yeah.
And I have not made
I was
it back.
too tired anyway. I didn't have to review it, but I just wanted to see it for fun.
I do want to see it. I saw a really good couple's costume at Amy Nicholson's Halloween party that she invited me to. That was old Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. I was like, is that woman dressed as like the older Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode? And then she was just with Michael Myers.
I hate to keep leading us astray, but also you drew my attention, Molly, to the best Halloween costume I've ever seen, which was the brown recluse.
Oh, yeah.
Which was half spider.
That was Emily Heller, right?
I think so. Half spider, half...
Emily Heller's awesome. She has a podcast with Lisa Hannawalt called Baby Geniuses.
It was an inspired Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Spider Edie Beale.
Yeah. Can I tell you guys the one amazing one I saw on Twitter I think it was today actually.
Sure.
Which was but you know that painting of Saturn eating his children?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's like that terrifying. Yeah. They dressed up as that. They had like a doll, the headless doll with the blood coming off. It's really scary actually, because that painting is really scary. Yeah, look it up. Today's episode of Night Call is brought to you by Scentbird. I don't know about you guys, but I am extremely fickle when it comes to fragrances. I have a phobia of buying full size because, as you know, that stuff is very expensive, and who knows how I'm still going to like that scent in a year or however long it takes to get through a bottle. I tend to be a rollerball kind of girl, but Scentbird is kind of sent from heaven for me, no pun intended. Scentbird is a service that lets you try from hundreds of premium brand fragrances, the same that you would find in a department store or at Sephora or wherever you get your fragrances, or you can try them before you marry them, so to speak. Scentbird has 450 designer brands, and you choose one every month to try before you get the full size. You can choose from brands like Prada, Gucci, Kate Spade, Nest, and more. It's the real deal and the exact brands that you're looking for every day. So when you choose a perfume, they'll send you a 30-day supply, and that's 120 sprays, so you'll always smell amazing. And you'll get free shipping with every order. When I went into Scentbird, I personally chose the Tom Ford Black Orchid scent because I love so many of those Tom Ford fragrances. And also Juliet Has a Gun's Not a Perfume, which I had heard great things about, never smelled for myself, and I am in love with it. I will definitely be getting the full size once I'm done with it because that one clicked for me. And I wouldn't have been able to try it and really get to try it over the long term if it wasn't for Scentbird. Right now, Scentbird is offering for all Night Call listeners a special promotion. With this exclusive offer, you'll get 50% off of your first month of Scentbird today. That's only $7.50 for your first perfume. So go to scentbird.com, that's scentbird.com/call, C-A-L-L, and use the code CALL for 50% off of your first month. scentbird.com/call. Sign on and smell amazing. Halloween, I watched the original this last weekend because my computer was lost / probably got stolen, and I just watched a bunch of movies also because Filmstruck is going away, so I was like, gotta watch all the Filmstruck I possibly can.
I used it to watch I watched all the A Star Is Borns. It's
right? It was useful.
It's so useful to have something that just has old movies.
Well, here's my shout out to Canopy. Use Canopy. It is great. It is not nearly as dependent on up-to-date streaming systems as Filmstruck is. Like, I got a new Apple TV for Filmstruck, and it's still buggy as hell on it.
Filmstruck's buggy also for me, but I'm still sad it's going away. And Canopy, you just need a library card, right?
You need a library card, and it's like the collection resembles a library DVD section too, because it's actually runs pretty deep in international and art house stuff, just because it's like, I don't know, whoever's in charge of buying up that stuff for libraries tends to be like pretty academic about it. So you can have a pretty good film education for free with Canopy, and I highly recommend it. It's a good company.
Nightcall loves libraries.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, get a library card. Anyway, off topic once again. I had not seen Halloween for a second. I'm not that into the slasher genre, to be honest, so that's why I still haven't seen any of the other Halloweens other than the first one.
Gotta see 3.
Yeah, I mean, are they all built around the slasher kind of motif?
3's the one I was telling you about last time.
Season of the Witch, right?
Yeah, has nothing to do with regular Halloween mythology and is about like a scary Halloween mask that gets stuck to kids' faces. It's just terrifying.
Yeah. But do people get stabbed or stalked at night or anything like that?
I mean, they don't not get stalked at night. I like slashers. Tess, what do you fall in slashers?
I'm middle. It depends on the slasher. I was never that big into Halloween.
Yeah. I love when we all represent the different viewpoints on an issue.
I did like 3. I liked the first one, but I didn't feel any need to revisit it.
Right, same.
I liked the third one, but yeah, it's not like something I return to.
I love John Carpenter.
No, that's what I was going to say.
Good.
Like, there's so many more interesting John Carpenter movies that are not Halloween, in my humble opinion.
I love Halloween because it's like such a 70s movie. I love when Laurie Strode and her friend are just smoking pot in the car, because whenever I watch that scene, I'm like, oh, you don't ever see this.
Yeah.
It's passing the Bechdel test. The girls are just hanging out. They just want to babysit. Kyle Richards from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is in it.
I feel like that started the kind of trend, though, of like really like almost all horror movies, especially that genre of horror movie, pass the Bechdel test because they tend to be female victims who are hanging out.
That is why I like slashers.
Right.
And this is like an argument that comes up in horror a lot. You know, some people think slashers are sexist because it's just all women getting killed, usually.
Well,
but
it's hard
sometimes
not,
it's dudes get killed.
See that, like, I didn't come up with slashers at all. I wasn't allowed to see any of that stuff, so I didn't really start seeing it till like late high school and mostly college that I would like catch up on this stuff. And I think because I was sheltered from it and the whole like the sensibility of a slasher and what happens in a slasher movie was not something that I was like, oh yeah, that's like a kind of movie, like, you know, like a romance or something. I still find it really hard to get past that. Like all of them kind of feel like you're looking forward to the penetration, basically. Like that's
right,
all.
but you are, and that's like what happens in horror movies. That is what horror movies are about, right?
I wrote about this with Alien because I like Alien because it's a reverse penetration that you're waiting for.
Well, I like seeing men. You know, I don't like. Sorry, I was going to say I like seeing men get killed, but what I mean, obviously,
it's okay.
is like
This is a safe space.
It's a safe. That's the whole point of it. Is it's like a safe space for like horrible things to happen and there to be no real life consequences because it's all like imaginary.
But
like,
I just can't see it that way. Like I just imagine all of the boys who came up watching those movies and like got used. Not even necessarily like I want to be Michael Myers, but we're like just like normalized it in their heads that like this is
right. I never think about it from the point of view of not being like I'm Laurie Strode. I'm just like and like I get like I'm very bored of final girls as a trope because it is sort of like one of the only ways where you get a female protagonist in a movie. But that's the thing. I'm like you get female protagonists in horror movies because it's all about like are they going to get stabbed? But you
also,
still get them.
Did they not have sex to earn not getting stabbed?
No, I mean, like, do you guys like Scream?
I love Scream.
I'm not that into Scream. I've only seen the first one, and I'm
love
into
Scream.
it.
What are your top? What do you watch like again and again?
In the scary movie space? I mean,
yeah,
I
watch Halloween
gross out
all the
stuff.
time.
Like I like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would much rather I would much rather watch
some body horror.
I'd rather watch The Thing or something like that. Like I
like that too.
Or Alien. Like I'd rather watch nasty, creepy aliens and slime and people getting torn up and stuff.
Well, I love Alien. I mean, Alien to me, honestly, this is to be the biggest nerd of all time. I'm like, Alien sci-fi is more sci-fi than horror.
I agree. No, I think so though. Because
Sure,
I think that horror, I mean, it's horrific. I mean, it has like horrific scenes, but yeah, it's kind of rooted, I think more in sci-fi.
The thing we all really like the most is Rosemary's Baby.
I love Rosemary, but also Carrie, because that's a movie that I think about constantly.
Yes, Carrie is the greatest movie of all time.
It's one of them.
Sorry, I don't actually mean that, but I do.
It's like one of the best Halloween movies.
And it's also kind of a fluke because I don't think Brian De Palma is like the world's most amazing director.
Wait,
general,
what?
You know?
It's one of the rare cases of somebody doing like some of his best work super early in his career.
It's just Sissy Spacek.
No, but it's across the board because
it
also has some of the most like intriguing both heroes and villains and somewhere in between who are female.
Yes.
In a way that's, I mean, Carrie's mom, especially like in the novel, I was always just like, whoa, I forget who plays the mom. I always want to be like Mercedes
Piper Laurie,
to everything. There we go, Piper Laurie.
Yeah.
And was she in the remake too?
I never saw that remake. That was the one with what's her face, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Chloe Moretz.
Tess, did you see Carrie first or read it first?
I read it first.
Okay, so Tess was my friend who like read all the scary books and then would like tell me what the part. I remember you like describing the end of Thinner to me because I was like, I want to know. I want to know, but I'm too scared. You know? But it seems like all those books are also really good.
They are really good. But Carrie, I think, is particularly good. And then I thought the movie was fantastic. And I was like, oh, it's really interesting to have, you know, a male author, a male director kind of capture like they did a pretty good job at capturing the locker room period, religious mom shame type stuff.
That's so traumatic, that entire sequence.
It's super traumatic. Yeah.
That's why it's so good because, again, it's like such a 70s movie. It's like the characters are all grounded in being real characters and you care about like their dynamics and there's some sad stuff happens. Everyone's not just like a caricature of like a mean asshole in high school or like the good kid.
And the dudes are mostly really hot.
Oh, they're
and you
all
forget
so
what they're
hot.
like. You're like, I think they suck, but they're really hot. And you're like, oh, it's so nice.
One thing I'll say about De Palma that I do like is that he's very good at like shooting men in a way that's hot.
Yeah,
very true.
He makes John Travolta look good in a lot of movies. and puts people in half shirts because it's also just the early 70s. There's a lot of good half shirts.
And you
I hate that
gotta
those came
stay
back.
ventilated.
No, I like it because it's like the football players are like on a spectrum of good and evil. And,
Everyone's on a spectrum of good and evil.
right. Like you kind of want everyone to not everyone to get killed, but like.
I mean, I guess the thing that's good about Carrie and that's like that I'm fine missing from something like Halloween and even like the original Suspiria, even though I was thinking about that a lot when we're thinking about like 70s horror and kind of revisiting it in remakes now, which feels like in many ways a 70s redo, is like I feel like those movies are like Carrie and I don't know what else I can think of off the top of my head. Like they're about being human in some way.
Rosemary's Baby, all those like
Rosemary's Baby, 100%. Yeah, like it's about
Hollywood
a human.
Movies. So
Yeah.
they're like about characters, and they're all like a really slow build to horror, which is what really is good. Like what I don't like about slashers, like later on in slashers, is when it does just sort of become like, what's the craziest kill that we can do? And introduce like a bunch of characters and they're all interchangeable. And then we just like kill them off in increasingly like crazy ways.
Right.
Like, I don't actually like that stuff that much. And I just saw The Omen for the first time, which was good,
never
but
seen The
not
Omen.
as good as The Exorcist.
And also, well, I was pointing out that The Bad Seed is like a better version of The Omen.
Oh
because
yeah, I need to see that. I know.
Oh,
It's so good.
Tess and I love The Bad Seed. This is one of the seeds of our friendship.
It is.
It's just about a little girl who's a sociopath, and
Good.
it's from like the 50s.
Rhoda
that's
Penmark.
even weirder.
Yep.
Because
See, I think this is the thing, though. There's so many good, interesting horror movies and concepts from the 70s, and we're in the similar territory where people want to see that kind of thing now, but we're mostly making remakes of those movies, which is like cool and fine. And the Suspiria remake is like different enough that it does feel like its own thing, kind of
right,
just
but
like its
I'm
own
like,
sort of
make an
improvisation
original
on a
movie
theme.
about a haunted
Sure.
academy.
Yeah.
Whiskey, Oscar, Mike, Bravo.
Do you love discovering new products? Are you a beauty and fashion maven constantly on the hunt for the next best thing? Ever pin something to your Pinterest board that you've always wanted to try but never have? Then you must try FabFitFun. FabFitFun allows women everywhere to discover new products, as well as including rave review must-have brands that you know and love. FabFitFun is a great gift to yourself or a loved one. Do you have a daughter who's going to college or a friend who's a new mom? FabFitFun is an awesome care package. We recently got our fall boxes, and every box contains a Glam Glow bubble sheet mask, beauty blender, Skin & Co. shower gel that smells amazing, and a selection of surprises from a list that includes Grown Alchemist skincare, some really nice earbuds, and a gorgeous umbrella. I use the French press coffee maker I got from my FabFitFun all the time. I actually use it to make iced tea. There are full-size products in the FabFitFun box, no sample sizes, only large, actual full-size products, which is great, and fantastic value. Many products' individual value is more than the entire cost of the box, and you can customize your box by choosing some products and add-ons with each box, or be surprised. It's a great way to discover new brands and products. I have gotten a bunch of products in my FabFitFun boxes that I've ended up rebuying because I liked them so much and wouldn't have tried them otherwise. The Glam Glow masks are really nice. The bubble mask, I'd never done a bubble mask before. Really fun. Sign up for FabFitFun today. FabFitFun boxes are amazing and always sell out. Use our code NIGHTCALL to get $10 off your first box. Go to fabfitfun.com to sign up and start getting the box for a life well lived. Use promo code NIGHTCALL to get $10 off your first box. That's over $200 for only $39.99. Go to fabfitfun.com and use our code NIGHTCALL to get $10 off your first FabFitFun box.
Alpha, Tango, Whiskey.
Speaking of original content about haunted academies, I watched the Sabrina TV show, The Chilling
Is she
Adventures
in an
of Sabrina.
academy?
Well, she's torn between two worlds, the human world
Who
and the
isn't?
witch world.
The witchy world.
The witchy world has a boarding school that I haven't gotten up to that yet because I'm only on episode 3. The episodes are very long. It's called Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and it's a show on Netflix. It stars Kiernan Shipka, Sally Draper as Sabrina. I loved these comic books so much that I was like the number one most excited person about the show. And then I was like, I'm getting too excited about the show. What if it's not that good? But it is really good so far that I've seen.
How can you say it's good and that the episodes are long?
Because they just are. Like, I thought there's just a lot of things happen. And I was just watching them back to back. So I was like, I can't tell where it ends and begins because the way Netflix has it set up is to just like go into the next one.
Yeah.
I found this is like a symptomatic thing of Netflix shows, and not just Netflix shows, but I think in general, like recent TV shows, is the recognizable arc or template that a TV episode is based on has been like stretched or something because everybody expects you're just going to keep watching the next episode anyway. So it doesn't have to have that like 5-act structure necessarily. So it's really easy to be like, where's the time gone? What have how long have I been watching
like they do that thing that a lot of horror fiction writers actually do where it's like everything ends with a cliffhanger. So you're like motivated to keep going just a little bit and then you're watching a whole nother episode. But Sabrina is a delight. It's super satanic horror, kind of 70s horror.
I heard it's heavy on the Satan.
It's heavy on the Satan. There's so much Satan. It's all about like the witches are satanic witches very explicitly. And it's genuinely kind of scary and creepy and like adult, even though it's a teen show also. And just great production design.
I saw part of it while waiting for hot chicken. And at first I was like, is this Flowers in the Attic? And then I was like, oh no. But it has that like timeless. I mean, she's always wearing the 60s coats.
It is like the best coats show.
It's such a
coats
good coats
and
show.
jackets.
Yeah.
It's like the whole show is jackets.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Harvey, her boyfriend, who's like, you know, kind of a lovable lunkhead, has some really good jackets.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I was eyeing Kiernan's jacket. She had like a little pea coat.
Yeah, she's good. Bronson Pinchot is the devil in it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's like
I don't like Bronson Pinchot.
No, me neither, but he's good at playing the devil. He also plays an evil yuppie in The Langoliers and is good at playing a person you hate. Yeah, so Sabrina is a great show. Everybody should try it out. I'm going to go watch the rest of it probably later and sail away. Tess, what is the scary thing you've been watching recently?
So I just saw that Pee-wee's Big Adventure was on Netflix, and it has been maybe like 15 years since I watched that movie. And my kids are 6 and 3, and I was like, I was probably 6 maybe when I saw this movie for the first time. I have no idea if that's accurate. And I showed it to my kids, and it was great.
I love that movie. It's so great.
I love that movie so much.
You
It gets
put it
better
to me
and
as
better.
like, that movie fucked me up so bad as a kid, so I made my kids watch it
I
to
felt
see.
like that was implicit in when I said I was about 6. Everyone knows that there's Large Marge.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, there's Francis as the devil. So Pee-wee's Big Adventure really is so good. It's so good right now.
I feel like it's a Halloween movie, even though
It is. It's totally
it's a Tim Burton movie, so
Yeah.
it feels like a
It also
perpetual
for some
Halloween
reason,
land.
It has like such an appealing. I don't know. There's something like so frenetic about it, and like just this like heightened tension.
We
that
were
I
talking
feel like
about the
we're living
80s
in.
for a minute where it was like we liked such weird stuff as kids in the 80s because Tess was saying that her husband was then like, all right, the kids are ready for RoboCop.
He's counting down until we can watch RoboCop with them. It's not time.
So I have to
mixed it.
rewatch that again for like the second time in a year or something because I'm going to talk about it on a podcast. And
RoboCop?
yeah,
so
I love
good.
That's
RoboCop.
awesome.
But she was saying like it was Peter's favorite movie as a kid.
He really loved
That's
and
so
it was
funny.
Terminator and RoboCop. I don't know. My
I mean,
husband's a complicated
it's
guy.
kind of hilarious. Like, I remember that era where those movies were basically advertised, like, and explicitly marketed to children, despite being kind of hard R, violent. I mean, wasn't RoboCop even, like, flirting with NC-17 at one point? It had, like, unprecedented levels of gore in it.
Yeah.
God bless Paul Verhoeven.
God, seriously.
Hey, you guys, we had an important update, maybe the final update of a saga we've been following closely, the Murder Board. Should we check in with that?
Yeah, why don't we?
Okay.
Hey, so if you sell the board, do you tell the buyer the whole history of the board? And like I said, this is something I wouldn't have even thought about if not for all the discussions you've had about it. But first, let's just say you don't tell them. I'm still not saying I 100% believe in all this spirit stuff and whatnot, but I'm definitely not 100% sure it can't be real. What if you sell them the board without telling them about the wood, where it came from and all that, and something bad happens? Then you got to start to feel like it's at least partly your fault, right? But what if you do tell them? One of you, I think it was Emily, said that the girls who originally asked for it knew what they wanted, why they wanted the board made out of that piece of wood, and they wanted it for the bad stuff, like maybe it was going to, I don't know, power it up or supercharge it or something. So if you tell people about it and they still want to buy it, they probably just want it for the bad stuff, right? And if they do something bad with it, you're still kind of on the hook for letting them have it, right? So no matter whether you tell them or not, I'm just dwelling on all the stuff you've talked about. There's still sort of like a moral conundrum there. Anyway, I think those are the choices. And after listening to you guys hash over all this, I find myself honestly kind of conflicted. So I'm going to ask you, or you and your listeners if you want, what to do before deciding. I can wait a while for an answer, I guess, though I would like to get this fucking thing out of my house at some point. But if you've got any feedback, I'd appreciate it. So thanks for all your insight and keep up the great show.
Thank you so much for that update. This has been a wild ride. So we had an email preceding this that said that the person who had ordered the murder board, she was kind of shamed on social media, called a witch, all of this stuff, and then her parents found out, and they're religious. What were you saying?
How did they find her?
Are
they like our listeners?
No. I think she was talking about this.
I think she told her parents or something.
No, I think she told some of her friends, and then her friends started like giving her shit on social media, and then her parents found out, and her parents are very religious, and they were furious. They forbade her from finishing the purchase of the murder board. So our woodworker was allowed to keep the deposit, but that wasn't very much money. And then she said, she wouldn't take the murder board. So now he's left trying to figure out what to do with this thing. If he wants to, I think the options were kind of like burn it, get rid of it. The other one was to keep it as kind of like a showcase, because he sent us pictures and it actually is like gorgeous. It's really, really
he did an amazing
It's
job.
so well done.
It's nice work.
So he could keep it as an example of what he can do, which I think is probably a pretty good choice, other than it means keeping a cursed object. And then the third one is finding a different buyer.
But one who won't use it.
Who won't know the origin.
Or no, well, I think he was asking if that's ethical. I actually don't think that is. I think you have to tell people.
Yeah, he was saying he wouldn't feel comfortable selling it to somebody without telling them it's cursed, but he also doesn't want to sell it to someone who knows it's cursed and wants to use it
and
for
wants
evil.
it for that. Yeah, I think the right answer is in the burn it category. I think he's just got. I mean, if you get to keep the deposit, whatever, it's not a huge loss. Hopefully for you.
No, it is. The deposit was like 10%.
Then you need to charge a bigger deposit, bro. Like for your fine woodworking skills.
I feel like she should have to pay. Is that crazy?
Well, she can't. I mean, I think that's like the legality of that would be tricky. You can't force someone to complete a purchase. If for whatever reason they have to back out, like what's he going to do? Take a teenager to small claims court?
As a teenager?
I think. Because if her parents forbade her from taking it,
so
was
how is she going to pay for this to begin with? This is interesting. I think you do have to destroy it. And sorry if that is indeed a huge loss, both of time and resources. But I think you gotta, and I don't know that we're necessarily the best authorities at this point for you as far as properly cleansing your workshop and everything else of your involvement with this board. But I would try to do a thorough job of it.
I'm going to advocate for a different approach. So I have a neighbor. He lives a block over, and he is not evil, but he's very interested in satanic memorabilia, like cult stuff. He has all that stuff. Like it's just if you just take like the murder board and come up with like 6 random examples of things exactly like that. Like he owns them, but he's not a bad or creepy person. He's a person who is so he really doesn't believe in those kinds of things. Therefore, he finds it novelty. And so he's not collecting these things to like harness their evil power. He's just doing it to make people super uncomfortable and not want to stay at his house for a week, which is, by the way,
an edgelord.
Great insurance. He's an edgelord. So
There's a lot of satanic kitsch in Los Angeles.
There's a lot of satanic kitsch, and most of the people who collect satanic kitsch, I think,
I feel like it's fine because like that's what Satanism is really about. Is about like atheism, basically.
Right.
It's not really about like worshiping evil or like Satanism as a formal religion.
Yeah.
That exists.
Although there are definitely people who are satanic in a more formal sense, and more power to them, but maybe not more power to them. Depends on how you think of it.
But also, I'm like, if somebody owns a bunch of like Thelema, like Crowley stuff, like that is normal to me.
Yes.
If somebody owned like a bunch of like Nazi memorabilia, I'd be like, no.
Yes, exactly.
Not cool.
So I would say you could sell this board to someone who is so extremely secular that they have an interest in weird, culty, creepy kind of stuff, just to kind of like feel, it's almost like saying like, I'm not afraid of this scary Ouija board that was made from a murder house. So I like sell it to them on eBay. That's what I would do.
There's like a shitty museum in Hollywood that has a lot of like serial killer artifacts and stuff called the Museum of Death.
Yeah.
I always got it confused with the other museum that is the Scientology walkthrough.
Psychiatry is
Psychiatry,
Psychiatry
and industry of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like right across the street.
Yeah, they're right across the street from each other, but it's kind of arguable which one is scarier and why. The Psychiatry Museum of Death, I've always been too scared to actually go in, but people who have gone in say there's a part where they put you in like a padded room and they're like, this is what happens if you have psychiatry.
25 vape, 23 vape, 25 1 8 15 5.
Today's episode of Night Call is brought to you by Third Love. So we all receive Third Love bras, and they're pretty much the most comfortable things I've ever worn. I'm wearing mine right now, as a matter of fact. They're really lightweight, they're super form-fitting, and the fit is just amazing. Third Love includes more sizes than most other brands. So Third Love is the industry leader with 70 sizes, including its signature half cup sizes. And there's quality in every stitch. The details make a huge difference. There are premium fabrics and expert design. At Third Love, you take the Fit Finder quiz, which is really super easy. You just answer a few simple questions and find your perfect fit. There's over 10 million women who have taken the quiz to date, and it's actually kind of fun, and it takes less than a minute to complete. Did you know that breast shape matters when finding a good fit? Because it definitely does. So part of the Fit Finder quiz helps you decide exactly the right bra for you. Third Love offers double the number of sizes that most other brands offer. There's a 100% fit guarantee. Third Love's team of expert fit stylists are dedicated to helping you find your perfect fit. If you don't love their product, returns and exchanges are free and easy. There's also their new cotton collection. Third Love takes its customer input seriously. They recently launched their most requested style, cotton t-shirt bras and cotton underwear. They're seriously comfortable. It took 2 years to develop and perfect the cotton collection, which is made with a premium cotton called Pima. The result is a line of incredibly soft, smooth, and breathable bras and underwear you'll want to wear every day. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone, so right now they're offering our listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/call now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/call for 15% off today.
12 5 15 8 1 25 8 23 8.
Where's the possibility where like we are forced to take responsibility for the murder board?
What do you mean? No.
Like, we have like, publicized this saga.
No,
and
but I think what we could do is if you want to list the murder board on eBay or something.
Do you think a Night Call listener would like the murder board, perhaps?
If so, please give us a call at 240-46-NIGHT or email us at nightcallpodcast@gmail.com. Put in an offer.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it's really nice, you guys.
Really
you might
nice.
not be able to afford it. It's not
Should
what
we
you're
share
thinking. It's
pictures
beautiful.
of it?
Yeah. Or if you'd like to commission more woodworking from this fine woodworker.
Yes, that's what we should do, is that you should offset the cost of burning this thing by us being like, every true diehard Night Call listener should have some kind of like
Get
a
a
cool night
yeah.
call wooden thing.
Night call spirit board.
Yes, perfect. The next
Excellent.
night call, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Night Call. It's 5:51 in upstate New York, and I'm doing one of my favorite things, which is walking my dog and listening to your podcast. And the one I'm listening to today is the discussion about the cremains cookies. And it made me think of something my wife has joked about for the last 5 years, ever since our previous dog died, which is eating his cremains. So not, like a whole bowl of ash, but just, like a dip pinky into it and be done with it.
You're going to dip your
I'm assuming
dog.
she's joking. She hasn't done it yet, but you all discussed whether it's better or worse if it's a family member or not, and I'm asking if it's better or worse if it's a pet. So, anyway, happy Night Call. Bye.
God bless you and your wife. Seriously.
Wait, he's like proposing like dipping the dog like a fun dip to be the PG version of that. Like,
Yeah, I was for sure like she's going to snort a line of the dog and then just do a little chaser, which depends on the kind of dog. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
is that
it
the kind of
depends on
energy?
the kind of dog.
It's
Yeah.
the idea that you like absorb your pet's like life energy.
Look, I get it. If I could clone my dog, honestly, if I could clone my dog even just by selling my house, I might have already cloned my dog. It's just that I need to sell my house and then like sell everyone else's houses and to recoup the
I like
benefits.
the idea of just selling off everything in your life in order to clone your dog.
I've thought so much about cloning my dog. I'm like, what would it take to clone the dog?
You're kind of pro cloning, right?
Well, only when it comes to cloning my dog. My dog is the only one. I think it's great that you want to dab your dog.
I don't think that you, I mean, it hasn't come out yet, but when people do see the movie Roma, and this is not a spoiler, but there is a very memorable image in it where they go to a rich person's house and they have a whole room that's just like hunting trophy type heads of all their previous dogs. It's terrifying. I was like, that's one way you could memorialize your dog.
That's sad. I mean, I don't think you should eat your dog's ashes.
I don't think so
think you
either. It
should.
feels like there's a lot of things you could land on before you end up eating your dog's ashes.
But I like the idea of endlessly questioning this. Like
Did we-
every night before you go to bed. It's
Did
like,
we talk
are you
about
sure?
Disneyland ashes on the podcast yet, or was that just on an email, I think? Let's talk about that for a moment.
There was an article in the Wall Street Journal this past week about the secretly very popular practice of scattering a loved one's ashes at Disney parks. I think Disney World is the one that they were talking about in the article, but I think that it happens on both coasts. And it's like you have a loved one who they were never more happy than when they were in the happiest place on earth, and why not let them live there for eternity? But the hilarious thing in the article is all the protocol around it, because it's I guess it happens so often that there are codes, like for the janitorial staff, like I think they call it a HIPAA alert or something. Like they have
they
code
got all
U
kinds
and-
of codes.
Yeah,
at
code
Disneyland.
V.
People vomit at Disneyland, but you just don't see.
Yeah, but they shut
course
down the
people
ride. They
vomit.
say there's a technical difficulty with the ride, and then somebody goes through with a HEPA vacuum and cleans up the ashes.
I knew about this because I'm a Disneyland nerd, and they were like, it happens so much, I guess. And the number one rides that it happens on are Haunted Mansion and It's a Small World.
Which is,
Yeah.
by the way, I'm like, oh, you might have just hated the
And
person
Pirate.
you threw in It's a Small World. Can you imagine being stuck in It's a Small World? So my parents had a
Yes.
friend. They were stuck on It's a Small World. The ride broke down and they were just like held hostage in there for hours and hours listening to that song. I don't know why, if you died, you wouldn't want to be on like Tom Sawyer Island or whatever it is, where it's
Is
like
that
a
where
nice...
you'd want to be? Where would you like to be buried at Disneyland, everybody?
Oh, this is a good question.
The
When you're
area with the ducks that's right outside the castle. Where
Oh,
the baby ducks,
yeah.
you know,
I
where
love those baby
the
ducks.
baby. I'd be in the baby duck zone because that's like this weird overlap between nature and fantasy.
Ooh, I love the real animals in the park. I have never been so I love when the rides break down, because then you get to see
Yeah,
the
you get
the
to look at
workers come
everything.
out. We
Yeah.
like broke down on Indiana Jones last time I went on it, and I was like so happy because they turned on the lights and a mechanic came out to fix the fake Jeep. And I was like,
That's awesome.
Does he wear like a jumpsuit like a real mechanic?
yeah, he was like a real mechanic. And I was like, how do you get that job? And my friends were just laughing at me because they were like, you're more excited about this than like the ride working.
I love Indiana Jones. I went
It's
on
so
the one
good.
at Euro Disney, and it was Indiana Jones and the Temple du Peril. Good times.
I would want to be scattered in one of the oldest attractions still running more or less unchanged in Disneyland, which is the train ride. But when you go through the tunnel,
Ooh, yeah.
the primeval world with all the
that's
dinosaurs, which is
good.
so beautiful and so peaceful.
Where would you want to be?
Mr. Toad.
Oh, Mr. Toad.
Oh, that's good.
But
That's
then
really
you'd go
good.
to hell.
But I love that you
Then
go
you'd
to
go to
hell.
hell.
in that ride.
What if
Then
you
you
got
don't
your
wanna go
ashes
to
just
hell.
thrown in all one throw into hell in Mr.
Well,
Toad's Wild
yeah.
Ride?
What they say is like, because it happens so much and they want to discourage people from doing it, is they say like it doesn't end up in the ride, it ends up in a vacuum and it goes in the trash.
But as we now know, nothing bad can happen to you, even if you like just accidentally eat all those ashes. Even if the funnel cake is just someone's grandma has been like put in the funnel, you'll be fine. It won't hurt you. Although actually in one article, it did say that the level of formaldehyde would still be in the ashes. I don't really believe that. What do you guys think? There's
know.
different camps. Because the cremains cookies, it was widely agreed, like it's no big deal.
you can eat cremains, everybody.
You
Yeah,
can.
why not
Maybe
try?
you shouldn't, but like I don't think that, no one needs to shut down a ride and grab a vacuum. You can just let it be.
They should let people throw the ashes into like Sleeping Beauty's well.
Oh, that's
Snow
a great
White's
idea.
well, whatever
Snow
it
White's
is.
well.
People
I don't
probably
remember
throw
who had that
ashes in
well.
there too.
Mm-hmm.
I bet I could think of places you could throw ashes that they wouldn't find them for a while.
When we have our Patreon, you can we'll give the hot tips.
That'll be the bonus content. Well, we've all been given a lot to think about this week. If you've got thoughts about what the woodworker should do with the murder board, including if you would like to purchase a murder board.
Yeah.
And
Serious
if you've got
inquiries
thoughts-
only.
Serious inquiries only. And if you'd like to tell us where you think the best places to put ashes at Disneyland is, or a better place than Disneyland to scatter ashes, which could be like many other places, give us a call at 240-46-NIGHT or a night email at nightcallpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at Nightcall Podcast. We're on Instagram at Nightcall Podcast and Twitter at Nightcall Pod. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating on iTunes. Help people find the show. Bye-bye.